Welcome to the Evangelism Podcast. I'm Daniel King. I'm excited about telling people about Jesus. Today I have two very special guests with me, Shawn Wilderom and Spencer. And both of you are crypto geniuses. Shawn, you've been a friend for a long time, and actually your wife is on the board of King Ministries.
That is correct.
And so we're so grateful for you being part of the ministry. You have gone with me on several mission trips. We've been in the Philippines together, and we've been in Belize together. Yes. And so appreciate you. You are an expert on crypto.
That is correct.
And so on today's episode, we're going to talk about how ministers can use crypto to do what God has called them to do.
Let's get after it. I'm excited.
All right, so the first thing I think everyone needs to know is if they have a website and someone comes to the website and wants to make a donation, so they can give with credit card, they can find the information to wire money to the bank, but a lot of people now are investing in crypto, and I think it's important for ministries to be able to accept donations with crypto. Is there a way that people can make donations with crypto?
Absolutely, Daniel. And one of the best ways is a vehicle called InGiven. It's a lot of companies do partner with InGiven, so they will be able to get with InGiven, go to the website, and get signed up. That's the quickest way. There is no upfront fee, and the fees are just ongoing, very minimal, just like doing and processing a PayPal or a credit card whenever someone does give to their ministry. Okay,
so you have a lot of crypto. Do you give to any ministries using crypto?
I do, but only whenever at a certain point of the cycle, and I can get into that later or in another podcast. But right now I'm investing heavily into crypto, but I will eventually, and do, when the timing is right, give a lot of percentage of my gains each year into ministries that do offer crypto.
So talk to me a little bit about your giving philosophy. Really, one of your gifts is entrepreneurship. You're very much an entrepreneur. Ever since I've known you, you've always looked for business deals, been really good at getting into a bunch of different businesses, and God brought you to crypto. And your goal is to make a lot of money in crypto because along with your entrepreneur gift, you also have a gift for giving. And so your goal is to help ministries around the world to do what God has called them to do. And so talk to me a little bit about what crypto can do for you to reach your goals of being the giver God has called you to be.
I feel like Lou Gehrig. Lou Gehrig talked about, he considers himself the luckiest man in the world because of baseball. Crypto is that way to me. It has opened up so many avenues and ways to give more, because the Bible says given to every good work. And not just Daniel King Ministries and a few other ministries and a couple of churches, but to give to every good work. And whenever we give to every good work, that means that we have to be successful and live a life of significance that is far and above what we can never ask, think, or dream. And so we have to really ask the Lord what we are going to do with what He has given us. What too much is given, much is required. And so every time that there's a new crypto or a new project that is in the crypto space, the Lord put that in someone's mind. And I'm asking the Lord every day about what the next project, the next big thing is going to be, because I want to be that guy. It has to be somebody. Might as well be me.
Now, when you first got into crypto, you kept asking me, hey, Daniel, do you accept Bitcoin? I was always like, sure, I'll take a Bitcoin. And at that time, Bitcoin was about $20,000. And I said, Shawn, you can give me a Bitcoin. If you want to give me a Bitcoin, I'll accept it. And you didn't give me a Bitcoin. You should have given me a Bitcoin, because now to give me a Bitcoin, it's worth a lot more, because Bitcoin recently went to its highest mark. What's Bitcoin doing these days?
It's at 107,000 at the moment.
So now it's a much bigger gift if you want to give me a Bitcoin.
That is correct.
You should have given it to me then. It would have been...
I think I offered that to you on April Fool's Day.
It was April Fool's. Now, you and I actually, you love April Fool's jokes, and
My favorite holiday.
you try to get me every year, and so I've stopped responding to your text messages
very
in early
smart.
April. And one time I sent you a text with a picture of me, in the Denver airport. It's like, hey, can you come pick me up? And I wasn't there, but it didn't fool you at all. Nope. You were.
I don't listen, or I don't have any phone calls I receive, or I don't reply to text messages.
Yeah, I don't think your promise to give me a Bitcoin was an April Fool's joke. I really think that was a prophecy.
Well, we can show you how to put a button on your website and get you started with that right away.
All right. So, Spencer, you are a business partner with Shawn.
Yes.
Tell me a little bit about how Shawn helped you get into crypto and your story of how that's helped you.
Yeah, so crypto for me has really been a lifesaver in a lot of ways. And, when I initially wanted to get into crypto, like all things that I've done previously in life, whether it's sports or music or any of the other hobbies that I've had throughout life, I wanted to learn from someone who's already doing it at a high level. And so I initially was reaching out to contacts, and we had a mutual connection that was able to put me in touch with Shawn. And at the time, Shawn had already had extreme levels of success trading crypto and navigating that market. Well, at the time, I was actually going through a really extreme health battle. I had a severe cervical spine injury. I've had 12 medical procedures in the last 3.5 or so years. And crypto and good financial planning has allowed me to really afford the care that I need, has put an amazing gift into my life. And so, being able to experience success in the crypto market for myself, to work with an amazing mentor that has turned into a brother, who has turned into a business partner, has been extraordinary. And my big why on why, we wanted to start our business and start this consulting firm is my eventual goal, and something that God has put on my heart, is to be able to sponsor other people who have had similar spine injuries that can't afford or can't have access to the care that has allowed me to even be here today. And, I've had platelet-rich plasma injections into muscle and ligament tears. I've had stem cells taken out of my bone marrow and injected into different injury sites and nerve hydrodissections, and none of that type of care is covered by insurance. And so crypto literally, in a way, has saved my life, and God's put it on my heart to pay it forward. And through the successes of our ventures, that is going to be my next step. And the next thing that I really want to do is to be able to help and sponsor those who need that kind of care that don't have access to it today.
Now, you've really become somewhat of a crypto expert, and you have a YouTube channel.
Yes, sir.
How does someone find your YouTube channel and get some of your wisdom in the crypto world?
Yeah, absolutely. So my full God-given name is William Spencer Jared. I go online by Crypto Will, and my YouTube channel is called Fresh Prince of Crypto. It's spelled Prints. It's named after my great-grandfather. Always wanted to do something with that name, given that my parents called me Spencer from day one. So to find me, if you're looking for market analysis, fundamental or technical analysis about crypto, ongoing education about the crypto market, you can find me on YouTube at Fresh Prince of Crypto, and then across other socials as well.
So just give me a crash course in crypto. Everyone's talking about it on the news, but a lot of people maybe don't fully understand what it's all about, how it works. Just kind of walk us through the very basics. I'm not much of an expert in crypto, so you're going to have to keep it really simple. But just walk me through the basics of how crypto works and how it can help people.
Yeah, absolutely. So at its root, it is the blockchain technology that powers cryptocurrency. And simply put, it is a public distributed ledger that records transactions. And there's a technology called nodes. We don't need to get into that today, where that actually solve mathematical equations and algorithms to generate different cryptocurrencies. There's other mechanisms, but that, very simply put, is the basis of crypto. It's a digital form of money that is protected by cryptography, which is codes and algorithms that protect the currency itself. as far as why, and that's really the big thing that I think people want to understand is what is the use case of crypto? And there's many. The easiest ones to recognize are a store of value. Bitcoin is the most widely known, and it is considered a sound store of value, and it's considered very hard money.
So historically, people have used different things to store value. In the beginning, you would have a barn full of grain, and,
Yes.
and you would get a little seal in Babylon, and they'd signify that you had this barn full of grain. So it was like real grain that had real value. And then later, people started using shells or different things as currency, and then they would use gold, something that's rare, in order to exchange value. Gold doesn't have much value in itself unless you're buying jewelry for your wife, but as a store of value. And so then you have fiat currencies like the US dollar that is a government backing a particular currency. And the problem we have with the dollar right now is extremely high inflation.
Yes.
And so a dollar in your pocket is only worth 50 cents compared to what it was worth 5 years ago. I mean, that's how bad inflation has become. And so basically, crypto, as I understand it, is a way to store value that people trust. Now, why do people trust crypto to be a store of value?
Yeah, absolutely.
Is that a good question?
That's a fantastic question. I'm happy to answer it. So the core value proposition of Bitcoin itself as one of many cryptocurrencies is it has a finite max supply of 21 million. And once the 21 million have been created, 95% of which have already been mined and are in existence today, once 21 million are created, no more will be created. So as a hard fixed supply, unlike the US dollar, which we can print infinitely. And the other piece of it is it has a deflationary mechanism. So every 4 years, the new Bitcoin that gets mined or released into the market goes down by 50%. So you have a desirable asset with a hard fixed supply that goes down in the available supply by 50% every 4 years. So it has become an extraordinarily sought after asset that has utility value to do things like payments and transactions. And yet also because of the fact that once 21 million hit, you can't make any more, it has become a sound store of value. It's actually become the highest, the fastest growing ETF in the history of ETFs due to its value storage capabilities.
So Bitcoin is the crypto that most people have heard the most about.
Yes.
But there are way more coins than just Bitcoin. Shawn, what are some of your favorite coins, and which ones have you been able to make a profit in?
Well, there's been quite a few. I've made some profits in. One of them is on my shirt right here. It's XRP. It is not like Bitcoin. It's not peer-to-peer like Bitcoin was created. This is what banks are going to use. And they have a lot of contracts with banks to replace the SWIFT payment system because it is so much faster and much less, so much cheaper to send money all around the world.
Now, that's something I wanted to talk about is being able to send money to different places, because this is really valuable for evangelistic ministries like my ministry. In fact, this coming week, I need to send money to Thailand. We're going to be doing an evangelism conference coming up in Thailand. And so I need to wire some money. It goes through my bank using the SWIFT code, which was, I don't remember when it was invented, but like back in the 50s. And so it's a little bit slow. It takes a few days for it to get into someone's account. And with crypto, tell me what advantages crypto might have for sending money to different places.
Well, the SWIFT payment system, the reason it takes several days is because it goes through every central bank to every country it is, you're sending money to, and sometimes it's a central bank that's not even the end country. And every time the central bank gets their hands on it, they take their fee. And so it's very not just cumbersome, but it also takes a lot of money.
I think it costs $45 to send a wire usually.
Yeah, and so with XRP, it should cost you less than a penny, and it will be there in seconds. And it depends on what type of wallet that you're sending it to what country. They have to also have a wallet or an exchange that they are receiving the XRP on, and then it'll be there. It'll be that quick. It's instantaneous. It's amazing technology.
And then some different governments around the world they're against Christianity, and so they actually track money because they don't want Christian ministries sending money in to help bring people to Jesus. And so do you think crypto could be used by ministries to get resources to sensitive areas around the world?
I think if ministries are going to be using crypto, they're going to be a lot more welcomed in those countries, because every country is going to follow the U.S., which is we are now seeing a lot of regulation that is coming up and has already been approved, especially with the Genius Act that got approved 2 weeks ago through the Senate. And so every country follows the U.S. It's still the world reserve currency. And so they will want to follow, all the countries will want to follow the U.S. and what they're doing. And so I believe if ministries in the future, now and in the future, start using crypto, they will be much more received in these countries you're wanting to minister in.
Okay, so Spencer, walk me through the basics. If someone wanted to put some of their money into crypto, like from very beginning, they've never done it before, how would they go about doing that?
Yeah, absolutely. So depending on where they are in the world, the first thing that they are going to have access to is an exchange. There's decentralized exchanges, there's centralized exchanges. Centralized exchanges worldwide, like Binance is the largest one globally. Here in the US, the most popular is Coinbase. That's really kind of ground zero. That's the foundation, is to have a platform to buy and hold cryptocurrency. And then
is that as simple as putting an app on your phone?
It can be. We actually don't always use apps on the phone, just for our security reasons, things like SIM card swapping and things like that. In our experience, doing it on a laptop or other device can actually be a little more secure. So that's something to pay attention to. But it is as simple as going to the website, making sure you have the right one. There are going to be some copycats, so there are some things security-wise to make sure that are taken care of, and boxes to check. But once you get to that point, it is a simple process. It's as simple as, if you can sign up for a Facebook account, you can sign up for a crypto account. Once you have your account, whether it's Binance or Coinbase, you can usually, in the case of Coinbase, that's what we use here primarily in the US, you can connect it right to your bank account, send dollars to the Coinbase exchange, and then buy crypto from there.
And so on that exchange, then you could have access to doing many different types of coins.
Yes.
And so let's go back to Shawn. You were about to tell me some of the different coins that you like and what you've invested in.
Well, the ones I like the most are the ones I make the most money on. And the most money I've made the most on is Shiba. And Shiba was a 400,000% return in 9 months. That's a 4,000x.
That's amazing, because no one gets that type of returns anywhere else.
It is absolutely amazing. That's why I'm in crypto. People ask me why I'm invested in crypto and not other asset classes. It's because this one is the smallest. It's not just the newest, but the smallest, has the highest demand, and has the potential to be at or near or even surpass the other asset classes that are several $100 trillion in the future.
So if someone wants to invest in crypto and they need some coaching to get started, that's something that you guys do. Mm-hmm. Tell me a little bit about how someone can get connected to you if they want to be coached through the process of what to invest in, what to look for. I know to me it seems a little bit like the Wild Wild West. It can be kind of crazy out there, and so it would be really valuable to have an expert like you, like Shawn. How many hours do you think you've put into studying crypto over the last few years?
Over 20,000 hours, and they say you're an expert on anything if you have at least 10,000 hours of.
And so you've put a lot of time into becoming an expert, and like I'm an evangelist, I don't have time to put 20,000 hours into crypto.
That's right.
But with maybe hooking up with you guys, it could help shorten that experience level that I would need, and even help to get me started to know what to do, what to invest in, what not to invest in, mistakes. Okay, so what's your website if people want to like get coaching from both of you?
It's digitalassetconsultants.co. So digital asset consultants, one word, .co. And then we also can be found on Twitter, Facebook, and Instagram, Digital Asset Consultants, or our personal pages, which is Spencer Jared and the crypto mentor, Shawn Wilderom.
And so, Spencer, tell me a little bit, if someone does need mentoring or they need more information about crypto, tell me about some of the different options that you offer in different levels of, I know you have a newsletter, you have some different things that you're offering. What can people learn from you guys?
Yeah, absolutely. So to your point, we do a monthly newsletter. The next iteration of that will go out in July. And then from our core book of services, we work with financial advisory firms, and then we work with personal investors as well. And for a personal investor, we offer either one-on-one consultation and coaching, and we'll meet someone where they are in their current crypto journey. We'll work with someone who's an absolute beginner, who's maybe heard of Bitcoin, heard of crypto, understands the opportunity, but has no experience. And then we'll also work with seasoned investors and traders. And so we'll work with anyone with any skill set in between. And then we also do a small group where we actually do things like live market analysis either once or twice a week. We have chat access. We'll share the things that we're doing, our strategies, how we analyze the market. We help we just don't want to give a fish. We want to teach how to fish too, if that makes sense. So it's ongoing education, market analysis. We share our plays, and we really want to educate people to do this for themselves and not solely rely on us forever. And so we want to add value in both ways. It's kind of two levers at the same time, if you will. And then we're also getting ready to launch, this will be out in the next 2 to 3 weeks, a webinar series as well. For absolute beginners, we're going to be doing a cryptocurrency and blockchain 101, and that's going to be once a month. And then we're going to do live market updates twice a month where we go through several super popular cryptocurrencies, some of the larger market cap crypto projects. And we wanted to launch those to be a little more accessible from price point for anyone who wants to really get their feet wet and decide, hey, is this something I really want to invest in? So that way it's kind of a little teaser, if you will. So we have something for everyone, regardless of where they're at in their crypto journey today.
I have a friend who's an evangelist. He has invested in crypto, and some of his investments have done really well. And so every time he needs to do a crusade, he liquidates a little bit of his crypto and puts it into doing a crusade. And so I'm like, that is awesome. Praise God that you're able to do that. And so, Shawn, let's just finish. Give me the best reasons why people should get involved in crypto. I usually don't do investment advice on my podcast. And, if you're listening, you need to pray about this, see if this is right for you, if you have the capacity to play in this area. But, Shawn, why do you think someone should get into crypto?
The entire crypto digital asset space is only $3 trillion. There are most of the asset classes in the world, and there's not that many. There's just a few. Most of them are over $100 trillion. You're talking about the Dow Jones, the S&P, the QQQ, the foreign exchanges, the bond market, the real estate market. And gold, for instance, is 10 times more valuable right now than the digital asset space, which is over $20 trillion.
And so you're anticipating that there's going to be enormous growth potential in the digital
in the next
asset
5
market.
to 10 years, absolutely. And so if you want to make the most money, you want to get into the fastest moving car. You do not want to be in the slowest car when you're in a race. We're in the race for just so many things here in the world, but we are in the race. You're in the race for winning souls. And so whenever you're wanting not just necessarily to get rich quick, but also to just live a life of significance and able to give to every good work and do and make generational wealth for your family, so you can get out of the rat race, because that's one of the biggest races that people have. And if that is more than enough reason, I think that I think we should be able, please contact us, soon if that's interesting.
So Spencer, same question. Why should someone get into crypto?
Yeah, so like Shawn said, I think there's tremendous growth upside for this entire industry. I believe that most financial markets will either in part be traded on blockchain technology, if not more than. And we're seeing developments already to where the treasuries, but the bond market, and where tokenized stocks, equities are starting to hit crypto rails. As these kinds of use cases grow, and I think we're at the infancy, I kind of attune where we are in the crypto market today to where the internet was in the mid to late 90s, where it's already growing, but Bitcoin is actually growing at a faster rate right now at this stage in the game than the mobile phone or the internet. So this is a rapid growing technology that has tremendous upside. And right now, personally, we always have to understand what the risk is. It is a volatile asset class. There'll be some winners, there'll be some losers. But when it comes to crypto exposure as a whole, my personal framework is it's riskier to be out than in right now because of where we think this market is going.
Because you missed the opportunity of
Absolutely.
this potential growth.
Yes, sir.
All right, Shawn, one more question. If I get on Coinbase, get a wallet, get set up to accept donations, when can I expect you to give your first Bitcoin to King Ministries?
Whenever you get that set up, just let me know. Send me a link.
All right. That's awesome. I'm going to get it done today. You're like, I was expecting you to say next April 1st for sure. All right. Thank you guys so much for being on the Evangelism podcast. Really appreciate it. Thank you for your wisdom. I think this can really help us out in the ministry to start thinking about the crypto space. We need to be wise in what's happening in the world, and this is one of the biggest things that's happening right now. So thank you, Spencer. Thank you, Shawn, for being on the Evangelism podcast.
It was fun. Thank you, Daniel.
Thank you for having us.
Daniel King is on a mission to save 1 million souls a year, but he can't do it alone. Would you consider sowing a financial seed today? To give, please visit www.kingministries.com.